classic cartoons, the older days of animations. It's too often that we end up forgetting about things such as these, and sometimes they don't get enough credit. What I'll be reviewing today is one prime example, a European TV series called The Animals of Farthing Wood. For those who don't know, which I imagine might be plenty of people, this series, from 1992 to 1995, is a series involving around a group of animals from a forest named, well, the Farthing Wood. The series is actually split into 3 separate series, each within their own year. However, I'm only going to be reviewing the first original series. I consider series 2 and 3 too different from what I was trying to go for. So, let's get started.
Righto, matey.
First things first. The main plot of the original series is strictly on survival. The woods where many of the characters lived is being chopped down and cut away by the humans. After some consideration, fox, badger, weasel, and a few other animals gather the rest of the community together, and they all agree to leave off to a place called White Deer Park, where they all can be safe. The premise, all by itself, is pretty straightforward, but for anyone who watched the series, it's really anything but. When I say it's all about survival, it does not kid around. Speaking of which, this is surprisingly mature and graphic for a kid's cartoon. This may be associated with the children in mind, but this isn't anything like today's cartoons. Don't believe me? Well, watch this then.
Try! 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 Butcher bird. Yeah, that's what they call me.
Let me point out that nothing was edited here. This was the original footage from the original series as it was. As I've said before, when it comes to survival, it does not kid around. It's not too far apart from the actual Shrike's behavior either, a bird that skewers small animals, which includes mice, so it can eat at a later date. As gory and shocking as this scene is, it's surprisingly realistic. This isn't the only graphic scene either, though it's possibly the most well-known from shock value alone. There are animals that get shot at, hunted down, burned, or even run over. Survival is a real and deadly thing, and this cartoon does not dull anything down.
Whatever you do, dearest, don't curl up. No!
Now, as for where these animals have to go, the series shifts around to all sorts of different places and obstacles. Amongst these include forests, farms, army land, towns, rivers, roads, as we just witnessed, and a number of other places. Each area the animals go to is nicely designed and done in strokes of paint color, like those done from an old canvas. This does come with some drawbacks though. The animals kinda pop out when looking from them to the background, but this is from the 90s, so I can't blame them for it. What I can blame them for though is the voice acting. Some of them are okay, like Fox, Badger, or Owl, but others are just hard to listen to. Yeah, my own voice isn't as good as others on YouTube, but at least they don't sound like...
To your home!
Or...
It wasn't for the chickens. What was it for?
And especially like...
Oh, somebody say something!
Weasel, will you shut up?
If I could say one thing with the voice acting, as mixed as they are, it at least is distinguishable enough so you can easily tell who's who in the group without needing them to see them on screen.
Bears don't need trees.
Excuse me, but Toad says White Deer Park's not far now.
It's especially good here because none of the characters actually have any real names like we do. They're just called by their animal names and that's it. It was annoying to me personally, but the voice acting and how standoutish it is makes up for it. The only characters I can think of that actually have their own unique names is Bruno the guard dog and Whistler the heron. But for the first series at least, that's about it. As far as the animation goes, it's what you'd expect from a 90s cartoon. Reused animations and sliding backgrounds. It isn't so bad considering the time it was made, and it doesn't make the animals too cartoony in the way they move and act. When looking at every episode, the smoothest, most fluid animated moment I could find was in a much later episode, what you're looking at here. Each character moving and no signs of standing still. But, however, that's as good as it gets. The next big thing is the characters. Being an older cartoon, many of the characters themselves aren't as dynamic as those you'd see today, but they still stand out nonetheless. However, one problem with this is that each character either has just one gimmick or none at all. Fox, for instance, is the brave leader who helps lead the animals on their journey. Toad is the enthusiastic and cheerful guide who shows the animals where to go. Owl is the grudgeful helper of Fox who wants to be leader herself but still willing to help, and there are other examples down the road. I feel like the writers looked at their first main appearance, found something that made them stand out, and made that their only thing they got going for them, for better or worse. The one that I'm most disappointed in, though, is actually Weasel. At first, she seems to be the devoted helper of Badger, who'd made a few jokes now and then, but nothing harmful. But later on, she just becomes downright annoying.
Set?
And what is wrong with my set, Weasel?
Oh, nothing, Badger. Nothing at all. Only...
Tell me, are we all going to die, Fox?
Probably. Want to take bets on it?
Why the writers decide to pick her annoying jokes and sinful laugh over her devotion to Badger, I would never know. What's worse, Adder has the untrustful gimmick, and Weasel's worse than her. Heck, some scenes only show her just so she could laugh her head off.
Adder.
Adder?
Adder!
I know characters today are annoying as sin, but I don't think any other character had such a nosedive as Weasel here. Another character with his own special gimmick I'd like to point out is Vole, whose main gimmick is to stand up for the other smaller animals, like mice and the shrews, over the larger animals like Fox and Owl.
You ask me, it's time we small creatures stood up for ourselves, with the right to self-determination same as anybody.
The first time he did this was actually quite democratical, and pretty effective too. But every other moment when he does this is just to increase the runtime.
If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. We smaller animals must demand our rights.
We smaller animals must stand up for our rights.
We smaller animals must learn to stand on our own 4 feet.
I know continuity is deep, but at least have the sayings match with each other, will you? I know I've been nailing this down for a while, but I have one more, far bigger problem with this. The negativity. It is more realistic, I know, but it seems that every single character has at least one thing bad to say about each other, regardless either on who they're saying it to, or who's saying it to begin with. Sometimes it just completely comes out of the blue and uncalled for, like this.
Of course, it is brave of you, Pheasant. For goodness sake, Pheasant, if you're going, go.
Really? Was that really necessary? There are other examples of this too, though not all the time, but they're still evident. I don't know if there really was a character who didn't insult someone at least once. I guess the squirrels didn't say anything harmful, though they barely said anything to begin with. The only more well-known character I could recall who remained clear was Vixen, for the most part. So, when looking at the first series of the Animals of Farthing Wood, I consider this less of a children's program and more of an animated drama, which is okay to me. It still has its own problems, as with any TV show, recent or not, but it's still a pretty decent show to watch if you're more into a down-to-earth kind of program. If you're looking for this as a kids show, I advise you to go with an open mind. But if you're looking for this as a drama, then this is for you. As I said earlier, there is 2 other series regarding the Animals of Farthing Wood. If you guys want me to review those too, you'll have to let me know in the comments below. Well, I'll see you all later. Neon out.